All right, folks, welcome to another day with Mr. Flotus in the art classroom. Today we're going to go over a watercolor lesson, how we use watercolors, some do's and don'ts of using them, and we're going to go through these simple notes of this paper that I gave you. Our basic type that you probably have seen are our regular pen sets that look just like this. The supplies we are needing today, let's make sure we have all that, is just a cup of water, a paintbrush. You can either use a round or a flat, but today I'm using a flat, a rag to clean up any messes or spills, and then of course our paint set. Okay, I want you to go ahead and make sure that you have your do's and don'ts paper put out so that we can take notes while we're working with this. Okay, the first one on our list, how we mix colors properly, and the second one says how to use your paintbrushes correctly. I'm going to go back and forth with these because they kind of intertwine. So I'm going to show you what can happen if we do not use our watercolors correctly. They can get very messy. They can get, you can mix all the colors wrong. And even our brushes can come out pretty gross if we're not using proper care for our watercolors. So if you never used watercolors before, that's okay. Today you're going to learn. I'm going to dip my paintbrush into the water, okay? And I'm just going to take any excess off at the edge of the cup. I'm going to dip it into some purple. And when we dip it into the purple, we simply just go with the tip back and forth, okay? If you wanted to create some, see how it looks, you can use this pan tray. And that's what this is for. It's meant for mixing, and it's meant for getting that access or even seeing the color. I'm putting my paintbrush back into the water, or I can clean my brush. When you want a new color, you can dry your paintbrush onto the rag, and we dip it into the water again, and we get a new color. If I want blue, I can get blue. And notice how I'm just going back and forth with the water and getting to see what that nice consistency is. All right. I put my paintbrush back into the water, take off the excess off the edge of the cup, and I clean my paintbrush as so. So let's go and write some of those notes down. How to mix colors properly, and how to use paintbrushes correctly. All right, so we dip in water. Let me show you a proper way to mix colors, okay? So say we only have so many colors here, and say you wanted a different type of purple. So red and blue make what? That's correct, red and blue make purple. So let's get some red. I dipped it into the water, now I dipped it into the color palette, and I put some red right in here. And now I'm going to need to clean it. So I'm going to dip it into the water, clean it, dip it into the water again, take off the excess onto the cup of the water. And I'm going to get some blue because blue and red make purple. I'm going to mix that in. And now I have this bluish purple that looks really nice. So that's how we mix our colors, okay? And if you wanted to get more of that color, again, you're going to have to clean your brush every time. Okay, I'm going to clean it, dip some more red in there. See what happens, it makes that real nice dark. And say I wanted to make it lighter. I can put some more water in there, dip it into the water, and just let that water flow. And now I have sort of like a maroon purple, very pretty. And that's how we mix our colors. So we can put, how do we mix colors? Our pan tray. Let me tell you some don'ts, what not to do, all right? I've seen some kids where they get their paintbrush and they force it into the paint and they just kind of just push and push and push. That's very wrong. We don't push our paintbrushes into the watercolor, okay? You're going to ruin your brush, and then also your paints are going to get very muddy and gross. So another how to use your paintbrush, all right, folks, our very last one is cleanup. This is for cleanup time. So how do we clean up our brushes and our paint palettes? See how I have this runny part right there? Well, if I close it, it's gonna get all messy and gross. So that's why we have our rags. So we get our rags and we simply clean it and pick it up, all right? And what about the water that's left over into the color? That's okay too. We simply close it, All right, and when we store it, we don't store it upside down, we don't store it sideways. We make sure we store it just straight up and down. Okay, so again, we can put on our notes, clean with rag. Another one for cleanup for your brushes. If you have your own brushes and you brought your own brushes, you're going to leave them inside this little space where your watercolor pan is. If you don't have your brush or don't take the classroom brushes, you're going to take them up to the front and just leave them upside down inside the cup where it says put brushes here. For dirty rags, you're going to put them where it says dirty rags. All right. So cleanup time, brushes. So I put note to self. This is for yourself, so you can make little notes. Let me see what you can come up with while exploring the watercolors. All right, folks, can't wait to see all your work.